I would like to share with you that this is where we came from nature. And we have been so enthralled by our progress, our technology, that we lost contact with this beautiful nature, the environment. And I think the story of Paxherbals is inviting the modern world to come back to our identity, because I believe that is where we came from. And so for the past 20 years, we went to the bush out of nothing. All we have is grasses. Many of us have studied pharmacy, chemistry, physics. Call it whatever you will, it still comes down to nature. What is microbiology? You analyze natural elements. What is physics? We don't create, we simply innovate and invent, but we do not create. So whatever we do, we must reconnect with Earth. And that is what we have done. So from this arid land, fresh land, the people of Ewu discover a sense of meaning. And instead of seeing just wide land that is not being used for anything, we discover something precious. So it was 20 years ago that I saw the people in the rural community of Ewu. The hospital was about 30 minutes drive away, and when they have malaria, typhoid, those are the common sicknesses. That was 20 years ago. Now, we don't talk about malaria any longer. It is now diabetes, cancer, hypertension, and I believe we need to do some study about that, because 20 years ago it was all about malaria and typhoid. Now it's all about cancer and diabetes and hypertension. So from the soil, we came together. I met all the local people. I saw the way they were helping themselves, treating the people. And I called them together and I said, we can do more. Let us grow together. And I will show you how that was 26 years ago. When I was received officially into the monastery, I wasn't sure of what I was looking for, but I wanted something special. A quiet place. My father already arranged for me to go to university to study chemistry, and he was making his own plan. I was making my own plan. So I decided to enter the monastery, and I studied philosophy and theology to reflect in the world. So I've been there for about 30 years now, among the palm trees, the mango trees, listening to them and learning from nature. And eventually, in 1996, we decided with a loan. It wasn't given to me. The monks, they were Irish monks, gave me some $200. They said, make sure you pay us back after 1 year, but use this to build a wooden house. I said, it's okay, we'll do that. So this is Paxherbals Center in 1996. It's a wooden house. So it's a humble beginning. 1997, we added some little expansion to the complex, and it was growing bigger. Can see. And in 1999, we moved over to a better one. By this time, the number of our staff had increased from 1 to 20, then 25. And here is where the patients come together to see myself and the other monks. 2006, the story changed drastically. We had the biggest herbal manufacturing company in Nigeria, and the number of workers increased to 90 in a rural community where you have old people, and the young ones, they've gone to the city, to Lagos or Abuja. Now, this is how our manufacturing company was in 1997. It was in the open space, and this is what we had in 2006. So from the humble beginning, we moved over. That is the manufacturing workshop. But that is not enough. What is herbal medicine? How do we improve on what we have? The old people in the village, they had this knowledge, and I went around to make sure that this knowledge is well preserved and put down for posterity. And today, when I remember how many of these men have died, men and women, not just men, I feel sad, because many of them died with a deposit of knowledge. And that is a big loss for Africa. We have a tradition that when the old man is about to die, he will pass on the knowledge to the first son. But the first son is no longer interested. He wants to go to Abuja, to Abidjan, to go and learn something, become a banker. He's not interested. Perhaps the teacher in the school told him that this is fetish. Don't go backwards. You should keep going forward. And I have seen a pastor, an educated one, who went to burn down his father's house because he said this is a symbol of paganism, and destroy the artifacts, the artworks, because for him that is something that is bad. Eventually he developed cancer, and 2 years later he died. Perhaps he destroyed the remedy that could have cured him from his father's own shade. That is the story of Africa of the past, and there are so many instances of that. So I felt we should preserve this in writing. And I was telling 2 days ago, I was sharing a story with when I was having a meeting with somebody from the Obasanjo Foundation, one of the former president of Nigeria, in Ibadan in 2007. He was invited for a program where I was, and he was given a copy of this book, and he went through it, and he said, go and tell the man who wrote this book that he's a stupid man. He's foolish. That why will he put all this thing in writing? That does he not know how to make money? That he should not make this so open. That is the way of thinking of the Africa of old. I believe that the more we make this explicit, the more we will learn, other people will learn, we'll build on it, and then Africa can have something for the world. So this book was published in the year 2000. It has not taken anything away from me. It has not reduced the number of clients who come. In fact, the number has increased, and it is a good lesson that the more we share, the more we have and grow. So I made sure I kept on writing more. So now the challenge is, how do we bring science into what we do? Very important. I believe that science and traditional medicine, they must go together. They belong together. Many times when we speak about science, we have a very narrow view of what science is. The old man in the village somewhere in Kenya. He's a scientist. He's very familiar with the soil. He can tell you whether a soil is fertile or not. When he sees a seed of maize, he will tell you whether it's going to germinate or not. That is science. See, it is not just only those who wear the white garments, the laboratory coats, who are scientists. In fact, what we have been doing as scientists for many years, biochemistry, biology, we are only trying to validate the knowledge that we got from the local people. That is what we have been doing. Maybe we have 10 professors, they go to somewhere in Somalia to go and investigate the claim that this plant can cure this sickness or that. But they are building on the knowledge that is there. And I've had the experience of a lot of scholars who went to the rural communities, interviewed them, got a lot of information, wrote very nice publication, and they became professors, and we got a lot of awards and grants, and they forgot the local people. So when I go around and I hear the complaints from the specialists that the traditional African healers, they are secretive, I say, yes, I support them. They are doing the right thing. They should continue to hide their knowledge until there is proper policy in place to compensate them and protect their knowledge. After all, Coca-Cola, I don't know if they reveal their secrets to anybody, or Google, or all of them. It is intellectual property, and they must be compensated. So I speak for those people, because it is unjust, it's unfair to collect this knowledge from them, and then they are not recognized. So the old men, they are open, they are ready to share when they meet somebody who is reliable and is ready to help. So in Paxherbals, we brought in pharmacists, medical doctors, pharmacologists, chemists. We work together in the same complex. We formulate, they analyze, and we keep on working. And for the past 10 years, we have been doing this all alone, without any help from the government. At the moment, let me show you our laboratory. In some years ago, you can see our dispensary where we have mortars. Everything is done there. We didn't give up, and we continued. And this is our laboratory in 2012. It is about persistence and determination. That is what we have been doing. Now, at the moment, in Nigeria, Paxherbals is the only company left that still manufactures herbal medicine in Nigeria. There are Chinese herbal products everywhere in Nigeria where you go, from India, from China. I don't know how they find it so easy to bring this thing to Nigeria. The local manufacturers, they have closed down. Either the government regulatory agency have closed them down because they couldn't meet the standard. And having closed them down, they don't remember to come back to call them, say, what can we do to help you so that you can reopen? They simply close them down, and we read on the newspaper that the agencies, they are doing very well, because they have closed down 10 factories in the last 1 month, and it's a big achievement. And then the director is promoted, he becomes a minister of health for closing down 10 factories. Why they have not been able to close down Paxherbals is we think we're 5 steps ahead, so that there's no excuse. If it has been very positive, because they help us to work hard. So at the moment, we are the only one left, but it's unfortunate because if you go to Nigeria, you see herbal products from China, We tried some time ago to export some of our products to China. They seized them in the air before we landed and destroyed them. They didn't bother to analyze them. They say, is that from Africa? And they took them away. So the law in Asia does not permit that. And but then that is part of the story of Africa. Why I'm telling you the story of Paxherbals is that we did not give up. We continued. And now the government, they now listen to us when they want any information about herbal medicine, they call us. We have gotten to the stage when the regulatory agencies, they now call and say, what do we do? We are confused. What else do we do? And we can now talk together. It's a good lesson for us that we have to keep working. This is we have 150 staff as at 2013. That's in a rural community. Some of these young people, they came back from Lagos or Abuja, from the city, to find job in the village. So we are reversing, the trend, and it is a good lesson. So as we grow and expand, it means we need more raw materials. We need more leaves for malaria, more mango trees, more papaya trees, more bitter leaf. How do we get them? We contracted this to the villagers, to the people in the village, and I can count at least 50 families who have trained their children to university level simply by cultivating herbal plants, medicinal plants. Then we buy from them. And then so we have a long process of control to make sure that the herbal plants, they are good. Eventually, they are also the consumers. And we also send the products to Lagos and to Abuja. So it's not just about herbal medicine, it's also about community development. So we now have a group of 1,000 women who cultivate plants. Bitter leaf, for example, bitter leaf is one of the common plants in Nigeria. It's bitter and it doesn't produce any seed. So people will not plant bitter leaf unless they have a reason. Now they know that we need bitter leaf. I'm sure many of you may have read a lot about bitter leaf, Vennonia amygdalina. It has been confirmed officially that it's one of the useful plants for lowering blood sugar for diabetes. And we have actually produced a medication out of bitter leaf. And 5 years ago, Pfizer, this big American pharmaceutical company, they are building a big factory somewhere in Abuja, trying to make a diabetic drug. And their main ingredient is bitter leaf. So the problem is they can't get enough bitter leaf. And they are going around, they don't know where to go in the first place, telling people. So they came to us that they want us to grow bitter leaf and supply them. I told them that I would like to contract them to grow bitter leaf for us because we need bitter leaf. So that we can give you a job, we can provide employment for you, bring more people, come and plant, we'll give you land, cultivate, we need bitter leaf. So they need bitter leaf and we need bitter leaf. But we know how to get the bitter leaf because we have the community who are behind us and are ready to cultivate, but they don't have that. The community around them, they see them as foreigners, business people who have come to make money and go. But we can tell the community, plant bitter leaf. So now we have this group of 1,000 women. They cultivate bitter leaf because they know that we'll buy from them, and they know that we'll price with them with open mind, that we are not going to cheat them. So we are sure that we are going to have enough bitter leaf. Well, that is just one of about 1,000 plants that we need. So that local community can be transformed in a few years to become a major player in the economy of Nigeria. We can multiply this by 100 local governments, and then you have economic development that can be sustained, and then that comes from the bottom up. What we have at the moment is money, but money is just paper. It's not wealth, it's not capital. You can spend 20 million pounds and it's all gone. Wealth is what people have that can be sustained, and that is what we are doing at Paxherbals. We have about 100 students, science students from different universities who come to us for 6 months or 1 year to learn practical experience. They are mostly in microbiology, chemistry, botany, taxonomy. This our herbarium is one of the standard herbarium in Nigeria. We have over 1,000 specimens of plants there. So all the plants that we use, the medicinal plants, we have them. We have the specimen. We can identify them to confirm that this is what we use. Because we discovered that the papaya in the north may actually be different from the one that grows in the west. It's the same papaya, but the chemical composition may be slightly different. So if you squeeze pawpaw leaf in water and you are living in the north, you may get more of tannins than alkaloids. The one in the east may be the other way around. That is what science do, but it is still based on what comes from nature. So we have these students. We work with different universities in Nigeria, in the natural sciences. We write research work and publish them. It is a beautiful combination of nature, community, and science, and a very good model. And since last year, we decided to tap into the youth, the artisans in the community, the mechanics, the carpenters, the bricklayers, all of them, to show them their potentials, what they could do. So they undergo training with further potentials. And in the community, people do not cry, say, help us, we need help. They said, you want to help us, let us talk as partners so that we can grow together. For me, that is the new face of Africa. I live in Nigeria. I come to UK once in a while and some other countries, and I've seen the potentials, and I could see the drive, the passion in the young people of Africa. About 70% of Africa, people below the age of 40. These are potentials that we can tap into, and I am doing that passionately, and I'm very happy because I'm keeping the record, demonstrating how this is done, and we want to share this with the rest of Africa. And I'm grateful to ARI. They discover what we are doing, and they said this is worth sharing with the rest of the world, and I'm happy that this is possible. One of these gentlemen there, the guy sitting down there, is an handicapped, he couldn't walk, and he was able to construct a little vehicle for himself. He could drive himself from the village in Ewu 2 hours away to the capital in Benin. He removed the engine of a motorcycle. I don't know how he did it, but he was able to construct a car for himself with 4 tires, and he's driving himself all over the place. And now we want to design a bigger one, a BWM, made in Ewu. Now he won't do it alone. He will do it with the technicians, the electricians, and they are working on it. Why? It is developing, making them to discover their potentials. Because I keep on saying that for 40 years, the Western world helped Africa to declare war on poverty. But whatever you declare war on will become your enemy forever, and the war does not end. I do not think that we can declare war on poverty. Poverty is not the face of Africa, nature, and the beautiful people, artworks, dance. We have intelligent people. We want to reverse this image of Africa as only people who suffer. As far as I know, there's no scientific evidence to say that the brain capacity of people depends on their skin color. As far as I know, I think the people just need to rediscover themselves. I've studied in universities in different countries, and I know that at the end of the day, it is the mind. It's very important, the kind of education that we give to people. I have seen people who don't want to hear about traditional herbal medicine. When I said why, I said because my father told me, or my teacher told me. I've seen a lot of medical doctors who were born in a traditional home, and in their medical training, they were told that herbal medicine is trash. There's nothing valuable. Say you don't condemn what you don't know. And we heard a lot about herbal medicine not being scientific, no dosage. They are very valid, but we should help it to grow. Science, medicine, medical science have grown through many centuries, and it didn't happen in 10 years. It has grown over many centuries. So why should we judge herbal medicine by what is happening or what has happened in the past? That is why I kept on telling Edward that I prefer the term African medicine to traditional medicine, because traditionals always tend to mean rigid, static, and in the past. African, we speak about Chinese medicine, don't we? African medicine is there. It's based on the African concept of the human body. I've worked in hospitals where some women were told that they had cancer of the breast, and they were told that they have to go for surgery, otherwise they will die in 6 months. And the woman said, no problem. Let me go back to my God the way I came, but you are not going to touch my breast. They prefer to die. That is a worldview. And if you dare touch their breast, they will die because they already believed. So we have to respect, we have to find out what is their belief, what is their worldview. I believe African medicine can offer us the explanation. These are just a group of some of the 1,000 women who are farmers. They are all in the bush, cultivating, planting. Why? Because they know we are going to buy from them. But this training is to tell them, do not destroy the environment. It's very important. Do not destroy. So don't cut down any tree, you must plant. And the men became jealous. They said, what about us? So we have another group of 2,000 men. They are not young, in their 70s, in their 80s. He said, look, we can cultivate yam. Do you need yam? Do you need cassava? He said, yes, we can use yam peel, cassava peel. So they are all, some of them were having waist pain. Suddenly there was no more waist pain because they have found a reason to come back to life. So they appreciate what we are doing. You can see them. And they are all Muslims and Christians working together. So in Nigeria, there's nothing like Muslim North or Christian South. It is not true. Among our workers in Ewu, about 60% are actually Muslims in a Catholic establishment. But we are working together. When it is a Muslim feast, we go and celebrate with them. When it is a Christian feast, they come to the church and join us in Mass. It is the politicians who created the term Muslim North and Christian South. For us, the common people, we do not know of that. These are the women. There are so many of them. Can see that crowd. They are all farmers. When I see them, I'm happy because they feel that what we are doing, because we make money, we have to pay 150 workers. But the village, the community people, they do not feel that we are making profit at their expense. And that is the beauty of herbal medicine. And I would like to tell you the history of medicine in 1 minute. That's a difficult job. 2,000 years before the birth of Christ, we started from the beginning. Said, here, take this root. That was what was available. And they survived. 1,000 years after the death of Christ, we began to think, say, well, that root is hidden here. Say this prayer. And we're all praying. We went to church. 1850 AD, so, oh, the scientists came. That prayer is superstitious. Here, take this potion. 1920, the wonderful age of science. That potion is snake oil. Here, swallow this pill. And so we started taking antibiotics. And we're happy. 1945, so, oh, that pill is ineffective. Here, take this penicillin. 1955 AD, say, oh, the bugs have mutated. They are getting wiser. Take this tetracycline. 1960 to 1999, after 39 more oops, say, okay, here, take this more powerful antimicrobial. Now, 2000 to 2015, we are back to the beginning. The bugs have won. Here, take this route. Thank you.